All right, welcome back. For our final explainer on the Buddha's lost art of Gaam-Node Ru, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit. We've talked a lot about the what and the how of this practice, but today we're asking why. Why does this book even exist? And what can the story of its creation teach us about our own path?
It all really starts with this one question. This is pulled straight from the book, and honestly, it's a question I think almost all of us have asked at some point. You do all the work, you read the books, you try to meditate, and yet you still feel stuck in those same old loops. Well, that frustration, that's the very seed this entire book grew from.
So, we're going to spend this whole time really digging into that question, because if you understand why this book was written, you start to understand the author's journey. And you might just see a little bit of your own story reflected in it. So, let's talk about the author, Alan R. Scott. What's really important to get right from the start is that he doesn't present himself as some kind of enlightened master or a guru. Not at all. He's coming at this as a dedicated student who, well, just like a lot of us, ran into a really deep and stubborn wall of frustration on his path. 18 years. Just let that number sink in for the second. That's how long the author was dedicating himself to this stuff, even spending time as a Buddhist monk. We're talking nearly 2 decades of sincere effort, of discipline, of really trying, and still feeling like something fundamental just wasn't clicking. And wow, this quote just perfectly captures that feeling, doesn't it? After all that time and all that effort, real change felt random, unreliable. Like you can just barely see this little light, this firefly, but you can never, ever actually catch it because of all the fog. He was just plain stuck. So the breakthrough moment, it didn't come from trying harder. It actually came from the complete opposite. He hit a point of what the book calls quiet exhaustion. And in that moment of just giving up the fight, instead of pushing, he just sort of let go. He stepped back. And that's when everything changed. Now this is so interesting when you see it laid out like this. For years, the author was living on the left side of this chart, fighting his thoughts, chasing some idea of quiet, trying to force his mind into some deep state. But the breakthrough? That happened entirely on the right side. It was a moment of just allowing, stillness, presence, openness. It wasn't a technique he finally mastered. It was a state he finally allowed to happen. So he has this incredibly powerful personal breakthrough, but was it just a fluke? A one-off experience? Well, pretty soon after, he met teaching monk Surafang. And this master didn't just understand what had happened, he'd been teaching the principles behind it for years. This wasn't a fluke. It was something real.
And this is where it all snaps into focus. Teaching monk Surapafang gave this experience a name, a framework. Gaam-Node Ru. It literally means to set the condition to know. All of a sudden, this random personal discovery was connected to a deep, intentional teaching. The fog was finally starting to clear.
From there, this personal journey really blossomed into a much bigger mission. The story now shifts to Fra Ajahn Surapong's vision for this teaching. For him, a book was never going to be just a bunch of ideas or words on a page. No, it had a much, much deeper purpose. And there you have it. That's the heart of it all right there. The goal isn't for you to just intellectually get it. It's not about collecting spiritual facts. The goal is real, tangible in your life, freedom from all the stuff that weighs you down.
The teacher doesn't even see this work as just a book. He sees it as a transmission, like a living wisdom being passed directly from one person to another.
It's meant to be a tool for freedom, a practical, hands-on manual for helping you restore that natural purity the book says is already inside every single one of us. So in his own words, this book is the map that was missing. It's the method for navigating your own inner world, and it's the tool you can use for your own liberation. This is his direct offering to anyone who wants it. Okay, so what does that all mean for us, the people reading it? It means this book isn't some lecture coming down from a mountain. It's a really sincere, humble invitation from a fellow traveler, someone who got lost in the fog, found a way out, and now wants to share the map. This really just sums up the whole story, doesn't it? It all started with sincere effort which led straight into burnout and confusion. Out of that came a simple, honest discovery. That discovery was then confirmed by a real master, and now it's being shared for one single reason: your freedom. And that really brings us right to the end. The book, this entire practice, it all comes down to this one question. It's not about trying to become perfect or achieving some far-off spiritual goal. It's just about being willing to look, to really know what's going on inside you. The whole journey starts with that first honest look. So, are you ready?